Unlearning the United States.
I'm an American living in Denmark and raising a child here, and I have had to deconstruct from a lot of things that I thought were normal in the United States, and then you don't realize until you leave that those things aren't normal. Like, for example, my daughter and I went on a walk the other day, and I had her in her stroller, but I took her out so that she could go and play in the snow. And after we had been playing for a minute, I had a split second where I kind of freaked out because I thought, oh my gosh, the stroller, it's not right next to me. My purse is in there, our groceries are in there. But then I remembered where we are and remembered that I don't really have to worry about that. It's the same for her just playing outside in general. I don't have to be hovering over her constantly. We can go on walks together, just she and I, any time of day or night, and know that we're safe. I don't have to feel like I have to have eyes in the back of my head to protect us. But those are all things that I have had to unlearn since living in America for 30 years. I have had to unlearn constantly being on edge and constantly being anxious about what if. It has definitely been.
I'm going to stop it really quick. I think definitely what she's saying is true, right? Like, yeah. I mean, you guys have less crime than us, at least like less violent crime. I know that there was a little bit of theft. Not really in some countries, not all of them. I know every country is obviously different, but I definitely think that this is more like this is a valid reason for women more than it would be for men. So I completely understand where she's coming from. It's funny because my wife actually does this. You know, we're out in public with the kids when we used to have strollers, worrying about where are they at, hovering over them, constantly watching them. I've always been a little more free flowing where I'm like, it's good. I mean, I'm not going to just let my kid like completely take off, but I think this is definitely like a woman intuition thing. The reasons that she's having and the reasons that she feels so much better about living in Europe.
A process, but I think that I've made a lot of progress over the last 3 years, and we're just really grateful to be here. We love Denmark.
It looks absolutely beautiful. Also, like Denmark looks like an awesome place, you know? I'm not going to compare it to like another country in Europe, but I know that Denmark is definitely, like if I were to move to Europe, it would like a Norway, a Denmark, maybe like a Germany, a Finland, Poland. I don't know. You know, I have no idea, but I understand where she's coming from. I guess I'm confused because I'm a mom in the US and I am never hovering or scared to walk outside with my children. We go to playgrounds and have never felt like we are in danger. Yeah, I guess this is all like depends where you live, right? If you live in Philadelphia, you know, or I don't know, Minneapolis, it's going to be a little sketchy with the type of people that live there. But if you live somewhere, you know, that's a little bit nicer, you know, maybe like a Nashville where I live or down in Florida somewhere, it's going to be way safer. So I wonder if the reason why most Americans aren't alarmed by the current state of things is because fear is so ingrained in most people's daily lives. Oh, that's a wild comment. I don't have fear. All right. These comments are hilarious. It says help over the U.S. As a Dane, my heart breaks for Americans. We really take this safety for granted here sometimes. Okay, guys, it's not as crazy. Like what the media portrays is completely different from what it's actually like. Interesting. All right, let's go to the next one. Bring an American. Oh, I can't. I was like, what is he doing? This is what we call the fentanyl slump. It's insane. You'll see this in like major cities sometimes. Trust me, I used to live in California, and yeah, if you're like down in some of the bigger cities in like a California or New York, you're gonna see this out on the streets. Also because they like refuse to help them or get them off of the streets. But yeah. That's so funny. He put get it laughing out loud. All right, we got some fun ones here. We got a MAGA hat with a stupid over it. All right. Let's see here. Oh, you know what's so hilarious? If any of you have been watching me for a long time, you know that I don't really like have any political stance. And one of you shared a video of someone on TikTok that like grabbed a clip of me and they like titled it like MAGA supporter. I fucking laughed so hard when I saw this. It was like MAGA supporter is shocked that Europeans hate Trump or something. I was just like, I don't think I even said that guy's name at all in the entire video. Also, I was just blown away by it. I'm like, how did I get thrown in here? All right. I love this trend. Copyright from Greenland. That's hilarious. You guys have to understand. I have like a very I just watch the world and literally am just baffled by it. Pretty much all of it. It doesn't matter. Whatever ideals everyone has. I'm just like, wow, this is an experience. It's crazy.
I had to unlearn this as an American living in Europe. Driving.
Oh, this is that Arnold. We watched one of his videos, one of his YouTube videos.
Yes, it sounds crazy, but in Europe, I haven't driven in over a year. I don't drive at all. I take the bus, I take a bike, I use my feet, and this is so weird for me. I grew up in
Using
Georgia,
the feet's the biggest one.
and I lived in Texas.
Americans could use that.
And we drove all the time, everywhere. Where I'm at in Georgia, there's not even a sidewalk. That's not a possibility. I can't walk to a store. And maybe if I wanted to walk for 30 minutes, I could walk to a gas station, but that's about it. Here in Europe, I walk everywhere, I bike everywhere, and I don't drive. I just take the bus. That's a huge difference, and that's something I had to unlearn living in Europe for the very first time. It's a huge culture difference, and it's one of the things that I loved. Europe has a huge cafe culture, and that's why you don't have to drive everywhere. I know a lot of Europeans would disagree and say, oh, we drive all the time, but also driving is different. They drive.
I think having the option of being able to drive or you don't have to drive is really like, that's the flex right there, right? Because you can live in Europe and be like, yeah, like I can drive, like I have a car, I can drive around if I want to, but also I don't have to. I can hop on public transport or I can ride a bike. Like I would love to ride a bike, not right now in this weather, but be able to get out and just be able to ride my bike into town. I guess theoretically I could do it. It's only, I don't know, maybe like 4 miles, 5 miles, but that's a pretty long, like then what, how am I carry my groceries? I got to get a basket. There's a lot to it, you guys. I have to drive my car.
Stick. Most people here drive stick shift. They do not drive automatic. So that's also so weird.
I miss
so
driving stick shift.
Yeah, so I had to unlearn driving. If you want to hear more about what I had to unlearn, make sure to follow along. Cheers.
All right. That's wild. Where did Arnold live at? I totally forgot. Where was he at? Fiance. What flag is this? Was it? I can't even see that far. I gotta up my flag game. I think he lived in was he in Slovakia? I don't remember. Seemed like a cool dude.
So I moved out of America for the first time in my life 7 months ago, and all my friends from home now would say I've gotten really liberal since moving to Europe. But the truth is I've just left America for the first time in my life and started seeing fucking reality. And the truth is we're being lied to our entire life. Amsterdam is where I live now. Everyone thinks it's like the drug
I think everyone's being lied to. And I think most people would agree with me.
capital of the world. There are no crackheads in Amsterdam. 0 crackheads. You got some alcoholics, but no crackheads. You know why? There's no
Nothing
crack.
wrong with alcoholics.
Other thing, prices in the supermarket are like less than half of what I was used to in New York. Now, I don't mean to sound so like negative and like fuck America. I'm very proud to have been born and raised in New York, but my message today is the propaganda machine you were fed is so much louder than you realize, and the world is so much bigger than your hometown and what the media fucking tells you.
He's definitely not wrong. Yeah, you know, it's been really interesting for me personally being able to finally get some more information outside of our borders here in the US. I really love it. I love getting perspectives on everything. We treat addiction as healthcare issue. In the US, it's treated as a crime issue. There's a yeah, like, yes, 100%. Pretty true. It is like a healthcare issue. If you guys didn't know, I actually used to be a rabid drug addict. I don't think I've ever said this on camera before. From the age about 15 to about 19, I had a little spurt there where and I'm not talking like, you know, I smoked some weed or took some ecstasy or something. Like I was doing like hardcore drugs for a long time, and I had to go to rehab for it. And thank God I got clean and got my life together. But it can be a crime, definitely, if you're like dealing drugs, right? Like if you're dealing drugs and, you know, supplying it, that's messed up. But for the person who actually just falls in that path of getting on drugs, I think is just sad, and they need to be helped. And sometimes they don't want to be helped, which is the hard part. So someone says, welcome to Europe. Man, I did not think that we were going to be getting into this type of talk today. The only people in the entire world that think America is the greatest country in the world are Americans. Everyone else thinks the country is a joke. I've heard this before. I think I've heard this. Do you know how hard it is to like keep a positive mindset with like all of the crap that goes on in this world right now, and like put myself out there and be like, yeah, you know, we're not all wild, crazy lunatics. All right. So glad you got out. Welcome to reality.
Doesn't have a fentanyl epidemic. That's why when you walk around Vienna or Zurich, you don't see encampments of people anywhere.
Okay. I wouldn't think I would see encampments in Zurich. I just got to get that out really quick.
Because since the 80s, they have been providing them with treatments, and they've embraced harm reduction.
That is hilarious that these are right back to back when the other one was just talking about this.
And they give them clean needles. They give them supplies. They offer them treatment.
Okay. I know I'm pausing way too much, but I think that this is really important, and I definitely have a thought on it. The giving clean needles thing, I'll be real with you guys, I'm not cool with it. I just don't like it. I think it's enabling it's enabling the bad behavior. There's other ways, like we should definitely give treatment, but we've tried this in our country of like giving people clean needles, and then they're just everywhere, like literally everywhere, like they're on the streets and stuff, and then it's like a hazard for people, the rest of the public.
It's harm reduction, and they give them clean needles, they give them supplies, they offer them treatment the same day. In Portland, this has been a catastrophe where they decriminalized drug use, but they didn't offer any treatments. So if somebody who's living in the streets,
I'm glad he said that. That's exactly what I was thinking in my head, was basically like places like Portland completely decriminalize. I mean, it's chaos there. I have a sister who lives in Oregon, and yeah, she ain't happy.
So Portland says, you know what, I'm ready to get treatment. And they say, good, we're going to connect you with a place where you can go and get treatment, but that place doesn't exist, or they have a waiting list that's a month long. What's that person going to do?
How fast do you get help if you have a drug problem in some of these European countries? I'm really curious. Yeah, because if you have to wait like a month, like personally, when I went to rehab, I mean, I was I was like 18, 19 at the time. And I did have to sit on a waiting list for about 40 days, 45 days before I was able to go in, which I just quit in that time frame and then went and did the rehab. But I do know that it can take a very long time for Americans to actually get the treatment. Do all countries, do they just give that to them like immediately, like day of? They're like, I need help, and they immediately put them in somewhere? That's really amazing if they do. Someone says, man's never been to Dublin or Glasgow. Yeah, I know. It's like we make these statements that are very, wide, when there's definitely cities everywhere that just have their problems. In Germany, you get ibuprofen after a surgery. That's actually probably a good thing. You know how many people got hooked? I did not know we were going to talk about drugs today. You know how many people get hooked on drugs after they get a surgery? It's insane. Bro has never seen Frankfurt. All right, we got another one. I think Britain is somewhere in between. We have needle exchanges, and if you qualify, you can get a detox and weaned off of it, but therapy is non-existent, and it's often trauma in part that keeps. Yeah, drugs are just, man, they can really mess you up. And then there's things that get labeled as drugs that really shouldn't be, like mushrooms, like psilocybin mushrooms. It's like, it literally, I mean, a lot of drugs grow out of the ground, but they have to be refined. They're often done in a lab. Whereas things like mushrooms, which I'm an advocate for, don't get the same name for themselves,
So actually, I really think this comment is true.
Americans are much too sensitive about nakedness, common in many parts of Europe.
As an American, I think American culture is very weird about nudity and even the human body in general. But I didn't realize this until I moved to Europe, and now I've realized how weird Americans are about nudity. And I actually really appreciate the nude saunas, and you'll see people like sunbathing naked. It's definitely not something I'm comfortable with.
I've heard that if you like sunbathe naked, especially for men, like their balls, it's supposed to be really good for your health. I was like, what? It like raises testosterone, I think. I'm pretty sure it does something for women too, but all right, this is a fun video today.
Because of the culture I was raised in, but I'm like, yeah, you go for it. You do you.
Okay. Timberlake and Jackson nip slip. Think of the children. The children, the rest of the world. The Timberlake. My eyes are so bad, you guys. Oh, that was the Super Bowl. I remember that. Yeah, I was a kid at the time. I remember seeing that. I was not scarred from a nipple. I was completely fine. I thought about it for a long time, but, it didn't really hurt me. I consider it healthy against body shaming. You see all types of bodies, not I consider it healthy against body shaming. You see all types of bodies, not photoshopped and in sauna beach, not absurdly styled. I consider it healthy against body shaming. I think the only body shaming that's okay is the fat shaming. Because when I get fat, I want someone to tell me, like, hey, bro, you're putting some weight on. And then I'm like, you know what? You're 100% right. I thought nobody noticed it, but yeah, I probably need to lose a few pounds. Luckily, you guys don't have to worry about that too much because you're not as fat as Americans. Even with Europe, some tourists feel uncomfortable when going to med beaches and seeing FE. That topless is so common among locals. Look, I'm fine for it, man. Like, free it, let it all hang. I really don't care. Living expenses, Germany versus USA. $2,000 childcare, jeez. $30,000. A month of groceries for $600. That's actually pretty cheap. That's not for my family. We spend more than that. We have to. There's 5 of us. Pro sports season tickets, €300. Really? Entire season tickets are €300? Yeah, that's about what it is. The cell phone plan always gets me. 0 days. That's about what I pay for my son's martial arts. 100% accurate. Okay, the wedding at $50,000, that's bonkers. That's crazy. People do it, though. A lot of people do it. And I'm sure people have expensive weddings in places in Europe as well. I think I've even seen a couple of videos of like some wild weddings, like in a cave or something. But yeah, the whole like expensive wedding thing, I think that trend is starting to go away a little bit. After we had our wedding, me and my wife were like, I really wish we would have just went to like Hawaii or something, the two of us. We didn't spend a crazy amount. I think we spent like 15 grand. A lot better than, or a lot worse than, she put about 15,000 too. Yeah, it was about right. That's nothing. Ice cream scoop. That's funny. Look at her face. Exaggerating just a little bit. $5. I mean, that's like a triple scoop or a double scoop. Average salary in Germany, €48,000 and a 40% tax rate. Average U.S. salary, $61,000 with a 15% tax rate. I don't know what the tax rate is for $61,000. I don't think it's 15%. It might be. They just redid our taxes, our tax rates last year, lowered them. Thank God. I don't think 15% though. That seems really low. So U.S. is the land of cheap petrol and driver's licenses. Yeah. Someone says a driver's license is €3,000. A lot of these here are misleading. A hospital stay doesn't cost $3,000 a night in the U.S. 92% of people here have insurance, which covers the majority. True. In Germany, that cost is after that. Take 42% of your income for taxes, and rent in Germany isn't that cheap. I know the rent can be, it depends where you live. It all depends where you live. I hate when we like do these blanket statements and it's like, yeah, you can live in Germany, in Munich, and it could be very expensive. Or you can go live in some small city that's, way outside of a city, outside of Munich, and probably save a ton of money. So
explain to me in America why the cost.
You spend 3 times as much per student in public school compared to a European private school, yet I like this guy a lot too.
Of having a student in public school is around $20,000 a year, up to $36,000 a year in New York. Your 4th graders cannot even read. $20,000 a year. Guys, I went to a private school in Italy. German school. I speak 5 languages. 5 languages. Okay, you don't even speak one. studied Latin, studied history from the Italian perspective, from the German perspective, from the English perspective, did philosophy, theology, religion, chemistry, physics. That basic physics, chemistry, and engineering knowledge we have from school is easily able to transpose into my construction business. The cost of my private school was $7,000 a year. Meanwhile, the American education
$7,000 a
system...
year? That's it? For private school? That is, I mean, it's $7,000. It's a lot of money, but our private schools are like 20 grand easily. 15 to 20 grand. I think we looked at them a couple of years ago. We were like, I was like, I'm good on all that.
The public is $20K a year in tax money. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's teaching at school. And don't get me even started on critical thinking, but you know it's like a hot topic for me. Most separated countries in the world when it comes to politics. Called the incapability of meeting in the middle to critical thinking. You spent 3 times as much than private school in Italy. I'm gonna give merit to the Italian and German education system here. Your Department of Education just replace it with a copy-paste version of what we have in Europe. How about you? We were crying on the books. How much homework we had. No fucking wonder that writers like, I don't know, Robert Greene got famous with the book 48 Laws of Power. Because in America, you don't even do proper literature. At the age of 14, we read properly Machiavelli, which is literally the old version of Robert Greene. Fucking wonder we don't see politics as a dogma like in America. Understand the concept of propaganda, power, and all that shit. Yes, do people still get indoctrinated and shit? Yes, 100%, guys. Some people like to study and some people don't. Guys, the inefficiency of the education system is crazy.
Yeah, he hit the nail on the head here. This is why I like this guy a lot, you know? Sometimes he has good takes, or let's say positive takes for America, and sometimes he has negative ones. I think that's where the critical thinking actually comes in, which I can appreciate. All right, propaganda costs a lot over here. America is a fake dream. America is not real. It's not a real place. Why do you think homeschooling is on the rise? Yeah, it actually is. Yeah, the Department of Education, since it was implemented here in our country, we've just gotten completely dumber. You can literally pull up the statistics and look at from the day the Department of Education was founded to today. It was like inclining, and then it completely just drops and goes straight down. It's stupid. My daughter's private school in North Carolina is $10,000 a year, and she learned French and Spanish, and she is now in 10th grade. Yeah, dude. All right, maybe I gotta put my kids in private school.
There are a few things I think that Europe does better than America, and I'm an American who's been living here in Barcelona, Spain for the last year, and the first one is safety. I'm gonna be honest, when I was living in the US, when I would go to the mall, or if I was at the grocery store, or if I was on the train or something, there'd be a little voice in the back of my head that would think, yo, someone could just show up right now, not be right in the head, pull out a gun, and we're all vulnerable. And it's really nice to live in a place now where that risk is completely taken away. I didn't realize how much of a stress relief that is.
Yeah, that it's a fear that he has, but I have this too. I don't really get afraid, but more of like when I'm in a large area, I do look at like where are my exits, and this is fucking insane that you have to live like this. I mean, people live in places that are really bad. Like you could live in Iran, I guess, but you know, look for exits, monitoring people. You know, if you see someone a little sketchy, you might watch them a little bit. It's completely crazy.
2 is bread. Now, I've eaten a lot of bread in my time in the U.S., but I got to be honest, I have not had any bread in the U.S. that is as good as some of these bakeries that I've been to here in Barcelona, or just Europe in general. Which leads me into number 3, and that is cheese. Now, I'll admit this, I wasn't the biggest cheese guy when I was living in the U.S., but correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of like really popular companies and things that you could get cheese from in the US where it's not even really cheese. It's like very processed and like oils and all these other things. I don't know. Since I've been living here in Spain, I've been loving cheese so much more. And I've noticed that a lot of the options of cheese that I get presented with are like more natural and it just tastes better. I mean, I had halloumi before I made this video. And yesterday with my breakfast, and with my dinner, I had halloumi again. Halloumi and I are like this. And number 4 is public transportation. So I've lived in some of the most walkable cities the US has to offer, like Chicago or New York City. But even the most walkable cities that are in the US are just, they don't compare to cities like Barcelona. In Europe, they built a lot of cities with the number 1 priority being people. But in the US, they built a lot of cities with the number 1 priority being cars or the automobile. And I think that difference is everything.
All right, I think that was good. Europe's rail system far exceeds the U.S. Yeah, yes. Actually, you know what? I saw a crazy stat. I think we actually have more rails than you guys, but just because we're so much bigger, you guys have way more, of course, like public transport. American cheese is 1 molecule away from being plastic. All right, Europe treat humans like humans. Found a video of you like 6 years ago, and you have changed a lot. I'm proud to see that. All right, that was a fun one. That's not what I was expecting when I went into this. Got into some topics that I don't normally talk about. So, all right, I want to hear you guys' thoughts. So drop them in the comments below if you guys have any questions for me. I will be, I check all the comments on the videos here or there. There's thousands of them, so I can't see all of them, but I'll definitely pop in there on this one and see what you guys have to say. Just keep it cordial. All right. Appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.